This video covers the basics of installing and setting up VCDS onto your Windows-based computer. VCDS is for our Rostec customers that have our dongle-based interfaces. There have been some different versions of these types of interfaces over the years, sold with our Pro Kits or as standalone enthusiast systems. When installing the VCDS software, do not have the USB type interface plugged up to your computer while downloading or installing the software. When you go to the Rostec website, click on the download link at the top of the page. These show the different types of interfaces that need VCDS. All of the links here go to the same page. On the following page, scroll down and you will find the download button for the current release of VCDS. Click on it to download and save it to your computer. With the VCDS installer file on your computer, double-click on it to run it. If asked for the setup instructions, you can click on No. If you click on Yes, a PDF file will open up with some details about the installer that will be covered later in this video. Once the VCDS setup wizard comes up, click on Next. Agree to the terms of the software license and click Next. For most customers, the default settings here should not be changed. Click on Next to continue. The install location is where the software will be installed on your computer. By default, this is the C drive Rostec/VCDS. Do not change this unless instructed otherwise. Click on Install to continue. The VCDS installer will now unpack the different files and install them on your computer. On some older computers, this can take several minutes. With the files unpacked and installed, VCDS will ask to install the USB driver. Click on Next to continue. On some computers, you may get a warning about our software not passing Windows logo testing. Click on the Continue Anyway button if such message appears. The USB driver will be copied to your computer now. Click on the Finish button. The Completing VCDS Setup Wizard window will appear. You should now have a VCDS icon on your desktop. Click on the Finish button to complete the installation of VCDS. Your new version of VCDS will automatically start up. Once VCDS has started up, you can now plug the USB connector to your computer. Most computers will give a pop-up message stating Found New Hardware and should identify it as a Rostec device. Most computers will automatically configure the Rostec USB drivers. You should then get a message stating that the new hardware is installed and ready to use. With a new install of VCDS, the first time you run it, you will get a message informing you there is no config file found. With your interface plugged up to your computer and to a vehicle, click on the Options button. Note that the default port is set to USB. If you are using a serial port interface, then you will need to select which COM port to use. Click on the Test button to run the port test. The results of the port test break down as follows. Port status. This should read OK. VCDS can communicate with the type of port your interface uses. The next two lines show version information about the USB drivers. The fourth line shows if VCDS can see the interface. It should be found and then list what type of interface you have. Dongle type interfaces will have a firmware version and this will be displayed here. Sometimes there will be firmware updates. If one is required, you will be alerted here. The last three lines show if the VCDS software can communicate with data lines on the vehicle. K1 and K2 are OK. CAN not ready, as shown in this example, is because we are connected to an older vehicle that does not have a diagnostic CAN gateway, so that is the normal response. When a firmware update is required, just click on the OK button and a new window will appear. Click on the Update button to update the interface. Firmware updates are part of the VCDS install. You do not need to be online to do this. Once the update is complete, click on Close. Click on the Save button to finish setting up VCDS. VCDS is now ready to use. Some Windows XP computers may pop up a Found New Hardware wizard when a Rostec USB interface is plugged up to the USB port. Select Install from a list or specific location, Advanced, then click on Next. Make sure Search for the best drivers in these locations is selected. Do not search removable media, floppy, CD-ROM. Do check the box for "Include this location in the search." Click on the Browse button. A new window will pop up. Scroll to the top of the list and have My Computer expanded, then locate your C drive. It will have a C: in parentheses. Expand this, then scroll down till you find a folder called Rostec, expand it, and then click on the VCDS folder to highlight it. Then click the OK button. You should now have C:/ROS-TEC/VCDS. Click on Next to continue. Again, you may get a warning about not passing the Windows logo testing. Click on the Continue Anyway button. The USB driver files will now be installed, and then the Completing New Found Hardware Wizard window will pop up. Click on Finish. If you are running a 64-bit version of Windows and you find that VCDS does not start up, or you get an error message when you try to run VCDS, then reinstall VCDS and select the Install 32-bit EXE on 64-bit system option on the Choose Component screen. Rostec recommends using a USB 2.0 port. These are USB ports with a black or white tab in them. The USB 3.0 ports usually have a blue tab in them. If you must use a USB 3.0 port, first make sure your computer's drivers are up to date. Check with the computer's manufacturer's website for the latest drivers. When you install VCDS, on the Choose Component screen, select the Install Special USB Drivers option for USB 3.0. If your computer can't seem to find the interface, then open the Device Manager. If you do not know how to open the Device Manager, please Google search how to do this. Depending on what version of Windows you are running, there are several different ways to open it. With the Device Manager open, scroll down to the bottom of the list to Universal Serial Bus Controllers. You may need to click on the plus sign to expand the list. You should see a Rostec device listed when the USB plug is connected to your computer. If there is a red or yellow flag over it, double-click on that listing to open up the Properties window and click on the Driver tab. Now click on the Update Driver button and install the USB driver. With the driver properly installed, the Rostec listing in the Universal Serial Bus Controllers should not have any red or yellow flags over it. If you do have any issues setting up VCDS and you are a registered user, then you are more than welcome to call or email us. If you purchased your interface directly from Rostec, then you are already registered. If you purchase VCDS from a reseller, then please go to our website and register your purchase.